CIPE has actually been working on women's economic empowerment since it started over 35 years ago. It's just that the work that we had done was sort of siloed and worked within our regional divisions, country by country, trying to develop program modules that were proven, that demonstrated impact. But we're now, 35 years later, we have some really dynamic impact for the projects that we've put together. We have programs that focus on women's national business agendas, which is an advocacy tool to help lift the barriers on laws and regulations against women in business and the laws that govern them. We have programs that help women entrepreneurs, a safe space, a women's business resource center where they can go and learn business skills, they can network, they can get mentoring, and they can also learn about other issues that impact them that are outside of CIPE's area of expertise. One of the things that CIPE is doing is launching a Women's Business Resource Center. Our flagship WBRC, as we call it, is in Papua New Guinea. And it is a safe space for women there that they can come and learn business skills, they can network, they can receive mentoring. And one of the things that I think that we didn't necessarily expect, but that has happened, is they've made use of this co-working space. And we now have more than 24 businesses that are being operated out of this Women's Business Resource Center. Because of the success of the WBRC model and that training network that we've put together, we are launching a WBRC in Afghanistan, and we're hoping to launch other WBRCs throughout the world. And of course, each country is a little bit different, the needs are different, but CIPE's proven model over its 35 years in operation is to work with local partners and to make sure that these types of projects develop organically, that they serve the private sector in the countries where they work, and that they're done in a way that is successful and leads to an opportunity for sustainability. One of the examples that's kind of close to my heart, because I've worked, for example, with Salima Ahmed, who's the president of the Bangladesh Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I worked with her previously in my capacity in the Women's Democracy Network on political empowerment. But honestly, her story really started with CIPE years and years ago, where she was, sitting in a conference room with 8 of her friends, 8 members of this Chamber of Commerce, and they were trying to figure out what the strategic direction was moving forward. And so CIPE helped build the capacity of the Chamber of Commerce. They helped build the capacity of the individuals inside the Chamber of Commerce. And ultimately, her story ended up with, 8 board directors that developed a strategic vision and worked for a membership of 300 women business owners in Bangladesh, and now serves more than 3,000 women business owners back home for her. And through that, she was able to gain that popularity, to gain that trust of women business owners through CIPE's advocacy module. So for example, in the case of Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry focused, for example, on the issue of how women business owners obtain commercial loans. And one of the very simple problems that they faced are in that tradition and in that culture, women cannot be sitting one-on-one with a male that is not their relative or someone in their sort of network of familiarity, for example. And so a very simple change is having those commercial banks change the way they staff loan desks and ensure that women loan officers are also there to serve women business owners. And through that simple change and through other legislative and regulatory changes, it unlocked $95 million for 10,000 women business owners in this country in a short amount of time. And we look at that and we look at it from CIPE's lens and we think, okay, great, job done. The legislation has changed, regulations have changed, and look at what we've been able to do in unlocking this enabling environment for women business owners. But it does go beyond that. Think of the way it changes society's view on women's leadership. When you have someone like Salima Ahmed that's working on these advocacy issues within her chamber, when she's changing legislation and when she's improving the economy because of what she's doing, people start to look at her differently. And I'm proud to say, in December she was elected to Parliament. So it really kind of makes the case of how women's economic empowerment and political empowerment go hand in hand. It's an interesting time right now to work on women's economic empowerment programs. The International Finance Corporation, they've put a number to the figure, but the potential to unlock GDP for each and every country truly lies in women and women's economic empowerment. We're seeing that now reflected in the administration's national agenda. Their security agenda states an initiative that's the Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative, where they are trying to reach several million women by 2025 and really try to work at unlocking this potential. Mostly it's a lot of capacity building skills. A lot of it is resources as well. So, I think that these business associations, these chambers of commerce, particularly the ones that are led by women, still are not necessarily at the capacity to serve their membership in a way that is sustainable. I don't want that to be misconstrued as that they're not able to do something meaningful. They're doing things that are very meaningful in their countries. But I think chambers of commerce and business associations around the globe are having issues with membership development and revenue generation. So really what we're looking at is trying to build that capacity and trying to kind of tap into what that value add is for the business community, and building that sort of value aspect so that they can be sustainable organizations in the future. One of the biggest wins was actually working in a very conservative environment where the local partners that I was working with, I genuinely felt that they did not have any sort of stigma or concern with me working with them as a woman. They valued my input, they valued me as a consultant, they valued me as a project manager. They looked to me for ideas, for opinions. They employed my opinions, and these are some pretty senior leaders and gentlemen even that are a lot older than I am. And so I felt a strong sense of value, and it really kind of came to the forefront one time, for example, when we were working together on a national business agenda. We had put the issues together, we had everything organized, and we needed to start getting meetings with government leaders to start making that public-private engagement and to advocate for changes in legislation and regulatory reform. And the partner came to me and he was so excited, and he said, we finally got a meeting with this minister. This is really important, this is key. We will be at a larger event where a lot of other people will be, but we'll have at least 10-15 minutes to give our elevator speech about the national business agenda, about the issues that we're concerned with, and what the recommendations are that we would like to see changed in these laws. And he was so excited, and he was going on and going on and going on, and all of a sudden his face just dropped and it went white. And he said, Barb, I'm so sorry. This is a men's Majlis. I can't invite a woman into the men's Majlis. And then you could see that he was still thinking about what to do about the situation. And he said, well, we've had female ambassadors come sometime. Let me see what I can do, because it's important that you're there. It's important that you have a seat at the table. And for me, that was the only thing that mattered, that my local partner thought that highly of me. And for him, it was a no-brainer that me as a professional woman needed to be at the table and have a seat at the table. That was enough for me. These things are not going to change overnight, but that little bit moves the ball down the court a little bit, and it will change society, and it will change the way things work in the future.